hello everyone, and hello everyone. Welcome back to the Rest Stop. In today's video, I've got some items, some doohickeys, doodads, whatever you want to call them, from my time in the military. I will let you know right away, I didn't use all of this stuff. Some of it was tactically acquired. Basically, I had to clean out a bunch of lockers. And they said I could have whatever was in the lockers. So I snagged some good stuff. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I used two things out of everything in here. So the first one that's interesting is the ABU. ABU is the pattern, which is like the digital camo that you see here. Here's the helmet head mount. So you can put like your NVG's night vision goggles here. And this is obviously the ABU camo covering the, are these Kevlar still from back in, yeah, it should still be a Kevlar helmet. You can see it's still got pads. The inside of the helmet, here's the chin strap. This is not my helmet. The only thing that was ABU that I ever wore was my vest, because they did not have OCP vests. What the hell is going on with this? How are you supposed to put that on? You can't even, this doesn't make any sense. Have I lost my mind? Oh, I see. That's why. It's not gonna, it doesn't fit anyways. I just thought it'd be funny to try to put it on my giant coconut head. I actually don't know what this is for. I never had this on my Kevlar helmet that was issued to me. Oh, the chin strap just fell off. But yeah. There you go. Actually, I think with some different pads, that actually doesn't fit that bad. Yeah, I didn't know that. Anyways, Kevlar helmet. Pretty cool souvenir from my time in the Air Force. I'm pretty sure I had two at some point, but I gave one to my buddy because I didn't need to. Actually, no, I do have another one. Did I give it to my dad? I can't remember. I must have another one in my storage somewhere. So yeah, anyways, mine was OCP colored, which is, you know, maybe you guys would know better as like this type of camo. This is a utility belt. It's got a pretty cool release. Goes in just like that. Never used this either. You can, it's got MOLLE loops right here. These are MOLLE loops. Basically, you can put pouches and stuff on. See how these straps are tucked in right here. So you weave it through back and forth, and then you tuck it back in. So these would be, and you can put whatever you want in these bigger pockets right here. And then you have room for like your M18 or M9 magazine to go in here and here. And there's actually magnets in here as well to kind of keep them in place so they don't just fall out when you're chasing after somebody or something. I never used a utility belt. I just felt like it wasn't necessary, and it just added, you know, more weight that I didn't need on my body because we already had, you know, so much stuff to carry. If I'm gonna run after somebody, I want to be, you know, light on my feet as much as I can be. But I mean, it's pretty cool, I guess. I feel like the people that always bought this kind of gear, no shade to you guys, or no shade, I never use that term, no hate, but I feel like the people that always bought this kind of stuff just wanted to look cooler, and they never actually really did anything, but sat at the gate, sat enough to say for them, which, you know, I sat at my gate. I sat at the gate, or the gates, my fair share of times. I know that for a fact. Or the flight line, or, you know, wherever. Different resources and buildings and such. I'll show that in a second. Another thing, it's just another utility belt. I like this one a lot more. This one actually looks like it was military issued. This one was purchased almost guaranteed from some sort of shop in Korea, and it was probably not approved by the commander to be worn. If you guys don't know, you know, obviously we wear uniforms and such, but there's also approved gear, such as like your vest and stuff like that. Your vest, your boots, I mean, everything. You know, if the color's off, it's not approved, stuff like that. I came in at a weird time where they were phasing out ABUs. So this is, you know, the weird greenish blue color of the digital camo. As you can see, even my goggles that I got were ABU. We wore OCPs, which is that camo that I showed earlier, that green and coyote brown camo. But this is another utility belt that would be better off holding your holster. So you put the holster Velcro over the side of it like that, and then it straps to your leg. But it would take off the pressure off of your actual pants, you know, which is how I wore my holster. I just strapped the holster strap around my belt, my actual pants belt, my bottoms. And sometimes when you're running, you know, if your belt becomes a little bit looser, you know, your pistol's constantly pulling down on your belt. But I would have liked to wear this, but I didn't get it in time. I just found it, and I thought it was you know, a cool little piece of history kind of thing, piece of gear. But it's just Velcro and a really sturdy weaved fabric. That's pretty cool, I thought. So I guess to go along with that, here's my M9 holster. Actually, this one isn't the one that I specifically used. I had to turn that in. This one was another one that I found in a locker. I wish I had my actual one. I don't know if I actually used it. I don't think I did. Typically, you see this goes around the bottom part of your leg. And then this is the thing that goes around your belt loop. So it goes on the side, hooks on your belt loop. And this person, it looks like, either lost the top strap that goes around the top of your quad, or they opted to not have it, which I don't know if you're supposed to do that. I'm assuming you're probably not supposed to do that because it's obviously more stable. But then, yeah, the M9 Beretta is what this was made for. You have your unlocking mechanism right here. So you push down. It's kind of hard to show. Push down and forward, and then you can pull it out. And then when you're done, put it back, and then this locks. Just like that. So now it's, your pistol can't just be pulled out. You have to actually push down and forward for it to come out. But yeah, just a heavy plastic. It's a pretty light holster. I wouldn't say it's heavy by any means. I think the Beretta was actually pretty heavy, like 2 to 3 pounds. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. The M9. I love that pistol. That was my favorite. I hated switching to the M18, the Sig Sauer M18. But yeah, pretty cool find. That would have been really cool to go with my ABU utility belt. I think I'd mentioned my vest was ABU, so I looked like an idiot. If you're on my Instagram and you see my pictures, they had us all looking so messed up, dude. We all had like ABU vests on, not all of us, ABU vests with OCPs, and that was just what they gave you. Something that I did use that is mine is this light, which I got in tech school. Yeah. No, I got this in basic training. Right? Pretty sure I got this in basic training. I've actually used it in my videos before. This is the button on the top that makes it work. It's dead right now, but it's got the clip right here. So I actually clipped this on, it was like dead center in my chest, so I could just pop it on whenever I needed to and be hands-free. It's got an infrared light, so if you're using night vision goggles and you turn on the infrared light, it doesn't damage the goggles. It's also invisible to the human eye, and actually it might damage the goggles. Maybe not though. But people, you can't see it, but everyone with the goggles on can see it, and it'll illuminate, you know, the area around you. So everyone that's in the know stays in the know, kind of a thing. But it's got a red light, a blue light, a white light, and infrared. I don't know why it has a red or a blue light. You know, we never really went over, and it kind of just twists like that, by the way, and then locks in place. Lift up, twist, and then it locks in place. Yeah, we never really went over like different uses for the red or the blue. So I don't know. I assume red light, it's less intense than a white light, but you can still see with it. So maybe that's something that you use at night to be a little bit lower light. I don't know. These are a pair of ESS goggles, just eye protection. I have like 4 pairs of these. I don't think these are ones that I used specifically, but you know, here's the actual cover for the lenses, and there you go. Pretty cool. Again, ABU colors, not OCP. But they didn't really care about stuff like that, you know, because when you don't have all of the equipment in general that you need to give your people, for example, like cold weather gear. They had jackets. I think there was like, I don't know how many hundreds of people we had in the squadron, but they only had like 20 of these special jackets. I can't remember what they're called. And they're for like, you know, low temperatures. And they just gave them out to people in the office, which was kind of like the running joke. Like you don't give, they would never give us, like the people that are actually out working, the gear that we needed, but they would give the people that sit behind the desks all the cool stuff, which is really lame, but regardless, that's what it was. Here is a very old, this is from 1995. I found out on the inside of the paperwork. This is a weapon cleaning kit. Really cool that comes in this little, I've never seen one of these before, but another thing that I found in the lockers. I'll just kind of show you a little bit of what's inside. It's missing a couple pieces, I've noticed, but all of this stuff is actually empty. So there's CLP right here, which is for like carbon buildup. I have no idea what was in this. Oh, it's a brush, that's what it is. And this, so it like pops off almost like a lipstick. It pops out a little brush. And then this is a lens cleaner for your scope. Right here, a little spray bottle. And then I have no idea, probably some extra tools and, you know, little scrapers and bits that go in there. But that's really cool. And then this flap opens up. And it's got a, like, cutout for all the little tools. So there's a flat pick. I'm not sure what this is, but it's kind of like a T section that screws in. I'm assuming you screw that onto the end of the barrel scrubber thing. So you basically have a couple pieces. I'll just show you. You basically have this long cable. It's like a stainless steel cable. The ones that I always used were basically just a long steel screwed together piece, and you put these bristle brushes, see right here, almost like a grill scraper, like kind of metal. You hear it? It's very, very stiff, pokey, sharp metal bristles, and you put those on the end right here, and then you put it through the barrel. You know, the barrel would be off the gun, and you put it through, and you back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and you scrape out all that carbon as well as you can. But on this, it has a couple of things that you can attach. So this is the one that's attached currently, and it's on a cable. So instead of a metal rod, it's a steel cable with like rubberized plastic on the outside of it, so it doesn't damage the barrel. And you screw on, I'm assuming, this T piece so that you can have a handle to grab on while you're pushing it back and forth. And you can also put these little squares, these little cloth squares through this little eyelet, and that kind of cleans out the gunk after you've, you know, used your bristle brush. Also, I'm not like a gun fanatic, so, you know, I haven't touched a rifle since I got out of the military, which is kind of sad. I want one. I'd rather have a pistol for my, you know, own protection, but if I say like the wrong terms or anything, you know, whatever. I don't care. That's not my life anymore. And I didn't really care when I was in. Like, you gotta call it it's a special type of bristle brush. You gotta call it the right thing. Shut up, man. You've never done anything. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And on that little booklet, I didn't pull it out, but it says 1995. So that's pretty cool. Here's an attachment for a gas mask that I've shown on the channel before. This is actually a microphone. So, it's got a place where you can, you know, plug in, put in batteries. It says, do not change batteries in a hazardous area. Right here. You pop this open. And I've never used one of these before. This is another find in the lockers. So this would be probably for your flight chief. And it looks like 2 AAA batteries in there. Your flight chief, your commanding officer, in times of war, if there's a chemical agent in the air, they can, where's that at? Huh. I thought there was like a button to push. Oh, there you go. You flip that switch, and this attaches to the front, you know, so you talk through it, and it amplifies their voice so you can hear your leaders. That's pretty cool. I like that gadget a lot. I've never seen anyone use it, even in training. Nobody ever had one, but so that was a pretty cool find in the lockers. And then the last thing, oh boy, last thing are these zip tie cuffs. They're just really, really heavy duty, thick gauge. That's really loud. Sorry, I'm not going to do that again. Zip tie handcuffs. So, I mean, can you imagine? You imagine being hemmed up with those? I'd rather have these than metal cuffs, actually, now that I think about it. Training, if anyone's ever trained with handcuffs before, like real metal handcuffs, tell everybody how bad they hurt. Especially if you're like, I'm not trying to, you know, get attention for this, but if you're a little bit muscular, like I was when I was in the military, and you're not very flexible because of it, when you're training and you have your hands behind your back, my arms would fall asleep almost instantaneously. And if you know anything about military training, they will make an example out of you. So not that I was in trouble, but many times I would have to just sit there laying on, you know, either side, or doing like, you know, teaching new airmen or whatever that are coming in onto base, handcuffing procedures all over again, and just sitting there for 20 minutes with handcuffs on, my hands turning purple, and it was miserable, dude. Horrible feeling. But last thing before I end it, here's a radio. So this would attach to your actual radio itself that, you know, has the signal, and you clip this onto your vest right here, and I believe they called these like whisper mics because you can whisper in them and they work. And then so yeah, this goes on your actual radio receiver, and then this is just a microphone, so you can, you know, control whatever. You got your volume, and this is a Motorola, and then this would be like your SOS button. That I believe, like, I don't think it pings your location, does it? It might. I don't know, man. I can't remember. But what is that? I never got to use one of these. You had to like check them out from the armory, and they didn't always have them, and I just didn't want to have something else to check in. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to go to work, man. I want to get in my car and just go on patrol and be done with it. And then when I get home, get back to the squadron, I want to turn my rifle and my pistol in, turn my magazines in, and I want to be gone. I want to be back home. So I never bothered with anything like this. It just kind of seemed, honestly, kind of seemed ridiculous. Again, one of those things that's just like, you want to look cool. A lot of people bought their own, by the way. This is why that's probably what this is. But, you know, I'm pretty sure the actual the actual radio itself was also a whisper radio, you know, so you didn't have to scream in it. I remember one time we got this brand new LT from a nuke base, and this dude didn't know how to even, he's a lieutenant, he didn't know how to use a radio. So when we were doing exercises, and even when we weren't doing exercises, mind you, this is my commanding officer, he would go on the radio and he would, hey, this is blah blah. I'm not using freaking military jargon, so you just rah, 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 scream into the microphone, and then BDOC controller would be like, hey, can you don't scream into the microphone, we can't understand you. So it was always really funny because it's like, that guy's in charge of me. That's hilarious. One of the other things that I found out, I was looking through my messages, and we were talking about LT, and my buddy was like, dude, he doesn't even know how to check a rifle. He doesn't even know how to like arm up. Like, he doesn't know how to get his weapon from the armory. And I'm like, dude, you know what happens when something pops off? That's kind of scary. That guy's in charge. But, you know, there's redundancies in leadership to where if he doesn't know something, then the enlisted members definitely know it, you know. No shade to, again, using the shade, no hate to any lieutenants out there, but, you know, sometimes you guys are not in the know. Anyways, that concludes this video, which is something I've also never said on this channel. I'm being weird because I'm in a different room, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one. And as always, please, please, please have a good rest.